Color guard, parade the colors.
Carry colors. Forward, march. More time. March. Left her. March. Forward. March. More time. March. Left her. March. Ready. Halt. Present. Arm.
The national anthem of the Hellenic Republic will be sung by Ms. Sophia Manasaki.
Σε γνωρίζω από την κόψη του σπαθιού την τρομερή. Σε γνωρίζω από την όψη που με μετράει τη γη. Απ' τα κόκαλα βγαλμένη των Ελλήνων τα ιερά και σαν πρώτα ανδριωμένη χαίρο χαίρο ελευθεριά και σαν πρώτα ανδριωμένη χαίρο χαίρο ελευθεριά και σαν πρώτα ανδριωμένη χαίρο χαίρο ελευθεριά.
The national anthem of the United States will be sung by Emily Reed Sandra Serrano.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bomb bursting in air, gave proof through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Freedom and human dignity with a clear sense of duty to serve our nation and mankind. If tradition serves as a way to pass the values of our nation, we embrace them today. We respectfully honor the legacy of those who have served before us, and together, with our strength rooted in service of our nation, we project toward the future with confidence and assurance of our continued blessing as we embrace a new era of naval history. With a grateful heart and a sense of pride, we rejoice and celebrate with our host nation this evening, it is my prayer. Amen.
Sailors, distinguished guests, Team Souda Bay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to have you all here today with us this evening to celebrate our Navy's 238th birthday. I'd like to begin by wishing our United States Navy and everyone associated with it a very happy birthday. Happy birthday, United States Navy. As we celebrate our Navy's 238th birthday, our history and heritage form our identity, telling us who we are and what we stand for. Our core values of honor, courage, and commitment have been passed down from our founders, who charged the Navy with the solemn duty as serve as the shield of our republic. On this 238th birthday of our Navy, we have the honor to serve in the greatest maritime fighting force the world has ever seen. Some would say that we've reduced the number of ships and total force that we're not as capable as we once were. As an example, at the end of World War II, there were 3.4 million people in the U.S. Navy, and we had 6,768 ships, including 28 aircraft carriers, 23 battleships, 71 escort carriers, 72 cruisers, 232 submarines, 377 destroyers, and thousands of amphibious supply and auxiliary ships. It's quite a lot. Today we have roughly 317,000 active duty sailors, 109,000 reserve sailors, and over 200,000 civilians, 286 ships, and more than 3,700 aircraft. I would argue that today's force is much more capable. Think of the technological advances in weapons, ships, aircraft, machinery, the training and education, joint cooperation with the other services, and the continued support that we receive from our allies. The British used to say the sun never sets on the British Empire. I can say without a shadow of a doubt, the sun never sets on the U.S. Navy. That's thanks to our dedicated sailors and Marines who operate forward on vessels from strategic locations, and they're operating from strategic locations such as Souda Bay, and that's throughout the globe. As we move forward, we must do so with humility. We must continue to build on the framework those fighting sailors forged before us. Sailors like Elmer Bigelow. I bet you nobody's ever heard of Elmer Bigelow. Second generation German, born in Illinois in 1920. Elmer Bigelow enlisted in the Navy in 1942. He was a young sailor who stepped up at a critical time at the age of 24 and was awarded the Medal of Honor for his valiant actions in 1945. He was serving on board the USS Fletcher during an enemy Japanese forces attack off Crete Island in the Philippines. He was standing topside when an enemy shell struck the Fletcher. Petty Officer Bigelow acted instantly as the deadly projectile exploded into fragments, penetrating the #1 gun magazine and setting fire to several powder cases. He picked up a pair of fire extinguishers and rushed down to quell the raging flames. He refused to waste the precious time required to don rescue breathing apparatus and immediately plunged through the blinding smoke, billowing out of the magazine hatch, and dropped into the blazing compartment. Despite the acrid, burning powder smoke which seared his lungs with every agonizing breath, he worked rapidly and with instinctive sureness, and he succeeded in quickly extinguishing the fires and was able to cool the cases and bulkheads. He prevented further damage to the stricken ship. Although he succumbed to his injuries on the following day, Bigelow, by his dauntless valor, unfaltering skill, and prompt action in the critical emergency, averted the magazine from exploding, which would have left his ship wallowing at the mercy of the pounding Japanese guns off Crete. His heroic spirit and self-sacrifice sustains the highest tradition of the United States naval service. He gallantly gave his life in the service of his country. There is no doubt that Elmer Bigelow epitomized the Navy's core values of honor, courage, and commitment that we and our shipmates around today embrace. The U.S. Navy has been operating forward. From the Quasi-War in 1798 to the First and Second Barbary Wars here in the Mediterranean, from the great captains and crews who fought single ship action in 1812 to commerce raiders of the Civil War, from the convoys of World War I to the major fleet actions at Coral Sea, Midway, and Leyte Gulf, from the blockade of Cuba in 1962 to the riverine operations on the Tigris and Euphrates, and last week's operations in Libya and Somalia. We have championed peace through strength, and we continue to shield the Republic. From Second Class Petty Officer Elmer Bigelow to sailors like Chief Alex Roque, who came to the United States from Cuba as a 13-year-old, a true success story, achieving the rank of Chief Petty Officer, and will be commissioned as an officer next year. It is my honor and privilege to serve with each and every one of you. All of you will carry the U.S. Navy into the future while continuing to shield the Republic. I'm proud to say the U.S. Navy is in good hands. Here's to 238 years of proud naval heritage and many more. Happy birthday. God bless the United States Navy, and God bless the United States. Thank you.
Hellenic Republic and her people.
To the President of the United States of America.
To our NATO allies.
The Chief of Naval Operations. To all men and women in harm's way throughout the world.
To the United States Navy, the men and women of Naval Support Activity Souda Bay.
Remember. The tablecloth is white, symbolic of the purity of their intentions to respond to the country's call to arms. Remember. The single red rose in the vase signifies the blood that many have shed and sacrificed to ensure our freedom. Remember. The yellow ribbon on the vase represents the yellow ribbons worn on the lapels of those who demand, with unyielding determination, a proper accounting of those comrades not among us. So the Cape Canyon ceremony you see is representative of Navy values and traditions. The person who is playing the game tonight is coin number 16.
I definitely like when they were talking about naval traditions and the history, and seeing the video gave me like actual pride to be serving the U.S. Navy and the NSA Souda. The staff and Navy Ball Committee did phenomenal. It's gorgeous setup, and they definitely put in a lot of hard work and hours. They were always begging for tips at the commissary, raising money or having, I know they all put in a lot of work setting up and planning, so it was an amazing job. I've never won anything in my life, so to just go from like zero to like full-fledged, like winning the golden ticket, $800 round trip ticket to wherever I want to go or home is amazing. I think I'm definitely going to go home during Christmas.